that fire. Let's see how you move, darling. Oh, baby, these looks are valid.
Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Unfiltered Feed podcast. This is our 11th episode, so a very special one for my co host, which is Yash, also known as Thank You, Captain Ro. So, how was your week?
Hi, my week was great. It actually feels like yesterday when we recorded our previous episode. So this week's gone by really fast. How was your week?
It did go well, but I would not say that it went particularly quickly because there was a lot of work to be completed. So I felt like it was a proper week, so the weekend also felt special.
Yeah. So today we have not that much to talk about, but at the same time, whatever we have is quite important, at least for us. So, do you want to start straight away, or do you have something else to share?
Yeah, I think we could start straight away with the big news. And even though we have a test match that just ended, that is not the biggest thing on our agenda. It shows how big that thing is. So I would like you to straight away dive into that.
Yeah, sure. So, as the viewers have already seen, that I've changed my name to hashtag Thank You Captain Ro. So that's the biggest update from today. Today,
I
basically,
think
India.
last week you were talking about him losing 10 kgs and
Yeah,
just jinxed it for him.
yeah. Okay, so today India announced their squads for the ODI and T20 series versus Australia, which is going to happen in October in a couple of weeks' time. So that's the first main talking point of the day. Let's first talk about the ODI squad because we are playing an ODI after quite a long time. I think over 7 months. The last time we played was in the Champions Trophy, so this is something exciting. I'll quickly read the squad first. So we have Shubman Gill, who's the captain. That's the big change. Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, who's the vice captain now. Akshar Patel, KL Rahul, Nitish Kumar Reddy, Washington Sundar, Kuldeep Yadav, Harshit Rana, Mohammad Siraj, Arshdeep Singh, Prasidh Krishna, Dhruv Jurel, and Yashasvi Jaiswal. There were three main changes from the Champions Trophy squad. Jadeja and Varun Chakravarti are missing. So they were dropped basically. Hardik and Pant are injured, so they are out. And I think Pant wasn't even in the ODI squad, so Hardik is injured. And Bumrah has been rested. So these are the major changes that happened. So let's start with the first and the most important news. Rohit Sharma being sacked. Not sacked, but being dropped as the captain. What are your thoughts on this decision?
I think the only thing I'm grateful for is that they have made this change well in time and not left it for too late, because it would have been really difficult for Shubman Gill to really settle into the captaincy role if it had been given, say, 6 months before the World Cup. So
Yeah,
I think that's the positive, but I think Rohit Sharma did deserve to continue leading, but
yeah,
to be very honest, I can get the thinking behind this, because you can't really trust someone who's already 38 years old and who will be 40 years old when the World Cup comes. You can't really trust on him to stay fit or to be the leader of the side. So I get it, but at the same time, I felt he deserved a better send off.
yeah, I agree. As you said, there's no guarantee that Rohit and Virat will play the World Cup. They want to play it, that's for sure, but their bodies have to support them. So I think in that sense, this is a it will prevent a lot of panic because if Rohit was the captain and if, let's say, in 2026 midway he realized that his body wasn't supporting him, then they would have had to rush Gill and he would have gotten very less time to kind of get the side together and, you know, build some momentum with the team. But now it gives him nearly 24 months or 18 months, I think, since the World Cup is in Feb. So yeah, I think it's a nice move. Obviously very sad, as you can see from my username, but I think this is the right call looking at the future. I'm not so convinced that Gill is the right choice, but we'll talk about that later. So yeah, I do agree with the decision. But now, the next question I had was, is this, like how we assume, is this a way for BCCI to just be safe from Rohit or Virat not being able to play? Or is this a first move to make sure that they don't play? Like, do they want to sack Virat and Rohit before the World Cup? Because now it gives them the freedom to do that. Since Rohit is no more the captain, they can just drop him. So do you think that's the aim behind this, or is it that they want to, you know, make sure Rohit will decide what he wants to do?
I think that's a very interesting and intriguing question, because you can't really say what the BCCI is thinking. We thought the same during the test debacle that happened for us last year, that maybe the time is right for BCCI to take some action. But I think the thing is, you can't compare that scenario to this, because Rohit and Kohli for large parts have been performing players in this format. In tests, I think it was pretty straightforward that they were really holding on to their places and not really contributing. But in ODIs, I think from since the 2023 year started, I think both of them have been in good form.
Yeah.
So I don't see any reason why BCCI would want to remove them. But maybe if they want to push their youngsters, the young policy, they might. But really, I think unless Rohit and Kohli take a decision themselves, I don't think BCCI has the right to really remove them.
Yeah, that's true. I have a few stats from Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. So this year, both of them have played 7 and 8 innings respectively, in which Kohli has an average of 45, whereas Rohit has an average of 37. But if you look at 2024 or 2023 rather, Rohit was averaging 52 in 26 innings and Kohli was averaging 72. I think last year it doesn't make sense because they played only 3 matches, so that doesn't
Just
really
a
count.
series in Sri
Yeah.
Lanka.
So, as you said, Rohit and Kohli both have played well this year, especially in the Champions Trophy. So, at least for the next couple of series, it shouldn't be a problem. But I'm kind of worried for the series that are next year. So, they are playing against England in July next year. I think that will be a bit more representative of what the BCCI wants. If they don't play well in that series, then maybe it might be a bit difficult for them.
Yeah, and I think it will be difficult for them to sustain their form, because
Yeah.
now that they're only playing a single format, so there will be a lot of break in between. So not necessarily that they might sustain the form, and we never know. In 6 months there'll be a completely different picture, and
Yeah.
maybe BCCI doesn't want to have uh, anything to stop them from dropping them when the form eventually drops. They would hope that it doesn't, but if it does, then BCCI will be able to remove them without a lot of trouble.
Exactly. There was another question that came to my mind. If we are discussing about replacing Rohit and Virat, are there any options that can play the World Cup or at least play at that level for India? So I found some options for Rohit, but for Virat it's a bit difficult. So let's talk about Rohit first. I think the leading candidates would be Yashasvi Jaiswal or Sai Sudarshan, because they can then form a lefty-righty pair with Shubman Gill. Um, I think Ruturaj Gaikwad is an outside option because he's been playing really good cricket and is a sound technical player. And I think he'll suit the ODI setup. And I feel another outside option could be Sanju Samson, but that is a short-term option. I don't think that's a long-term thing.
It's a very outside option.
And maybe by how the other things are going, maybe Abhishek Sharma could get an option, could get a chance at least in one of the series, and just to assess how he does, especially since he's a very close friend of Shubman Gill, so he might get some preference over the others. But do you think of any other player who can replace Rohit Sharma?
I think it is harder to replace Virat Kohli than it is to replace Rohit as a batter. India will miss Rohit Sharma, the leader, more than the batter. So I think Jaiswal is someone who straight away fits into that role, and he will complement Shubman Gill with the lefty-righty combo. And I think his game is suited well for the 50-over format as well. But I just had a bit of a theory of my own. If you would like me to explain that.
I would love for you to do that.
I think till the 2026 T20 World Cup, I don't think that BCCI would look to get rid of Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. And the focus will be on that event. But I don't know why, but I have a feeling that after the 2026 World Cup, Rohit and Kohli might be sidelined, and the players who are currently being prioritized for that format, it might happen that now that the T20 World Cup is over, so the focus shifts on the ODI World Cup, and those players are given priority to play in the ODIs. So that could be. It would be very sad for Rohit and Kohli, and I hope that is not what BCCI are thinking.
Yeah.
But that's a very possible outcome.
But there is really no one except Abhishek Sharma and Tilak Verma who are playing in the T20 side. So, I mean, if they want to replace Rohit with Abhishek, then for sure. But I think you have better candidates like Jaiswal or Sai Sudarshan. I do understand for Tilak Verma because he is one of my options to replace Virat Kohli, because there's no one else who plays at number 3 and is doing well and is kind of young, because they would want an option for the future. I think again Sai Sudarshan can play number 3, Tilak Verma and maybe Sanju Samson, but I think Tilak is the guy who would replace Kohli. But I think for the opening slot, as you said, Jaiswal is more. He's leading for sure. So if they want to replace him, they should do it at the earliest instead of wait till July or September next year.
Yeah, I think this home season might just pass with Rohit and Kohli, and then they take a decision.
Yeah.
And I think even Gambhir's say in the team, his authority might fluctuate based on the T20 World Cup and how that goes. So there are a lot of dynamics involved, and hopefully we'll reach a fair conclusion soon.
Yeah, so unfortunately both Virat and Rohit are not in the position that MS Dhoni was for the 2019 World Cup, where it was up to him. If he wanted to play, then they were more than welcome, and if he didn't, they had replacements. But for this World Cup, since it's significantly away, there are 18 months left, they will have to perform and make their position in the team solid. They can't just assume that they'll be picked if they are available. So it's a bit different now. They have to perform finally.
I just hope that they're not given a bitter ending, because this is the only format that they're playing. So
Exactly.
a poor end in this format would mean a poor end to their career. So whatever happens, I hope they're given the authority to decide. And if there's a lot of pressure being put on them, anyways, I feel that they are self-aware enough that
Yeah,
they will prefer leaving rather than being forced into something not good for them.
exactly. And Rohit Sharma, he can be very proud as a captain, even though he hasn't won a World Cup, that which was his dream. He's captain for 56 matches, at least in the ODI format, out of which we have won 42. So that's exactly 75% of the games that we have won, which is insane. We've lost only 12, and there have been two games with no result, and one tie. Sorry, so one tie and one no result. And under his captaincy, we won the 2023 Asia Cup convincingly. We reached the finals of the 2023 World Cup convincingly, and that one day was a bit unfortunate. And then we also won the Champions Trophy convincingly without losing a single game. So, and we also obviously also won the T20 World Cup. But even in the ODI format, Rohit is one of India's best captains, because I think the consistency that the team showed and the atmosphere that the team had. I think you mentioned it several times that the atmosphere during the World Cup, the videos that they made, that was something special. So Rohit should be given the credit for that, and I think no player has anything bad to say about Rohit, which kind of shows how great of a captain he was. So he can definitely be proud, and he'll be remembered as one of India's best captains.
Yeah, I think he does. India will miss Rohit Sharma, the leader. More than captain, I would say leader, because
Yeah,
there's a difference between them. I think captaincy is pretty easy to pick up, and I think even Gill will be a good captain. But will he be a good leader? That only time will tell. And Rohit Sharma, the way he bonded with the players off the field as well, and created the environment like we keep emphasizing, that would be hard to continue.
yeah,
But uh, I just hope Shubman Gill is capable enough.
yeah. That's a great segue to the second talking point. Uh, is Gill the right choice for captaincy? And to be honest, I think there was only one other option, that was Shreyas Iyer. KL Rahul might have been an outside choice, but I think he doesn't want leadership anymore because he's had a few bad experiences.
A few
So
too many.
it was between Shreyas Iyer and Shubman Gill. I think Gill is 26 now, if I'm not wrong. Uh, Iyer is 30, so that's 4 years of difference. Gill has obviously started captaining in the IPL in 2024, where he led Gujarat. The first year was bad, but then this year they finished third, and they were looking like the best side for most part of the season. So that was good. And then he's taken over Indian Test captainship in June, where he won. Didn't win, but he drew the series 2-all, which is as good as a victory for us. And he's currently leading the side against West Indies, and it's going to be 2-0. We all know that. And whereas Shreyas Iyer, I don't think he's led India, at least for a series or for a longer duration, but he's been an IPL captain since 2018, and he's won it once with KKR, and he's reached the final twice with two historically underperforming teams. So that's quite important. So the moment he joined Punjab, all of a sudden they reached the finals. And 10 years before this, they didn't even make it to the playoffs. So there's something that Iyer has done. And he's also won several domestic titles for Mumbai, such as Ranji Trophy, Vijay Hazare Trophy, all of those things. So do you think that Gill is the right choice just because he's young? Or do you actually believe that he has the capability to do something that Iyer could have also done?
I think both of them have had a very successful run in the past 15 months or so. Shreyas Iyer has got something to show, but I think Shubman Gill, the way he led the Indian Test team, I think that had a lot to do with this decision. Had we not done this well, I think Rohit Sharma would have actually continued. So maybe they just uh, felt they were confident enough in Gill's abilities once they saw how he led in England. But comparing him with Iyer, I think uh, if there is not a lot of difference between the both of them, I think it's better to uh, give it to the younger player because I honestly feel Shubman Gill too has a high ceiling, uh, and he can become as good as or even better than what Shreyas Iyer is. Shreyas Iyer carries that aura, which is really good to see, and the way he led Punjab Kings this year was great. But I don't think Gill is far behind. So I honestly feel Gill is the better choice.
That's interesting because I feel Shreyas Iyer would have been the better option. He's proven it, obviously. Uh, and secondly, I think Shubman Gill, the batter, is very important for India. And he did well versus England, but I feel if he's overburdened with captaincy in multiple formats, it could affect his batting. He's also the vice captain in the T20 format, so they will probably make him the captain for T20s as well.
Mm.
And that I feel could be a bit too much for his batting because he'll have to play a lot more games. There is a risk of burnout as well, which was asked to Ajit Agarkar, the selector, and his answer was that hopefully it won't happen because he's only 26. So that's a very strange
Yeah,
answer.
he's now going to enter his peak
Yeah,
years as an athlete. So
not
he
everyone can be a Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli obviously went to a next level when he became the captain, but at least in ODIs, since Shreyas Iyer plays only the ODIs right now, giving him the reins would have been nice because then he would have been able to help players in the off season as well. And he's proven that he's a great captain. Everybody likes him as well, and I think his performance hasn't really dipped, even though he's led sides in the IPL. So and he's 30. It's not like he's 33, 34. So he can lead the side for the next 3-4 years at least. So I would have gone with Iyer, but I understand why they are behind Gill. They want the next icon, similar to Sachin, Rohit, Kohli. So it's Shubman Gill now.
Yeah, and I heard Ajit Agarkar's press conference where he was asked that why not go for three different captains for three different formats,
Yeah.
and he said it's not sustainable. So I think BCCI's previous policy, which was that uh, you don't want a different captain for ODIs and Tests when they had Rohit Sharma in or ODIs and T20s. That was so now they've
Yeah.
completely switched sides and now they have a different captain for ODIs and T20s, and they don't want a third captain for a third different format because it doesn't is not sustainable. So I don't know what problem they had in the previous regime. That's for another day.
Yeah. Uh, but anyways, I think Shubman Gill will also do a good job. He's obviously led the Indian Test side well, so I hope India does well under him. Uh, let's talk about the
So let
last.
us
Yeah, the
let us
last.
move on to the T20 squad.
There's one last thing, which I wanted to ask you because you're probably aware about this. What's the status for Hardik Pandya and Rishabh Pant's injuries? Because being dropped from both the series for Hardik, that sounds a bit more serious than what I thought.
Yeah, he basically had a minor niggle to his groin, and I just feel that it's a precautionary rest for him. Nothing too serious, but they don't want uh, they want him to recover completely,
Okay.
and because I think there's a very heavy schedule for us in the future. South Africa will tour for 5 T20s, and then even the one days. He might not play in the one days, but still the T20s, and then we have New Zealand coming,
Yeah.
and also the T20 World Cup. So I think Hardik is really crucial for our chances. So it's only okay if he lets go of this series.
Perfect.
And Rishabh Pant, I think he's pretty much recovered now from
Okay.
his fractured toe, and from what I've heard is he will be in the next home series, which is against South Africa. And anyways, he wasn't a regular starter in the one days,
Yeah.
so they decided to use Jurel as a backup.
Perfect. So before moving to the T20s, I'll just update the viewers about the ODI series that's happening, the schedule. So the first ODI is on 19th at Perth. I think this is the Optus Stadium, so it's a nice venue. The second ODI is on the 23rd at Adelaide, one of Kohli's favorite grounds. And the third ODI
And his
is favorite date as well. And the third ODI is on the 25th at Sydney, which is another favorite of Virat Kohli. So hopefully we see a special series from both Rohit and Virat. And now let's move to the T20 squad. There are basically no changes as far as I'm aware. There's only Hardik, who's obviously been rested. And in place of him, they bring in Nitish Kumar Reddy. So that's the only change from the Asia Cup squad.
Yeah.
And
I
obviously,
think
there was
in the
no.
past 2 weeks we've talked so much about this squad that
Yeah,
there's just nothing more to add to this brilliant bunch.
exactly. Again, I think we discussed why Gill. Why are they promoting Gill? Because now he has formal leadership roles in all three formats. But I mean, we talked about it obviously. Uh, One interesting question that I had was since this T20 series happens in Australia, you can't play all four spinners. So if you were the captain, which two would you pick?
Uh, I think that's a very good question. I would go with CV and Kuldeep because they're the two most wicket-taking and dangerous bowlers. And then my pacers would be Arshdeep and Bumrah.
And
And
maybe
then,
Akshar and Nitish would
yeah,
also be there.
so Dubey, I think, can fill the role of Hardik.
Yeah,
So you don't need to get in Nitish and you can continue with Akshar. So I think that's what India would go with. Three pacers, three spinners, because they just love their spinners.
yeah. So Sundar is Sundar will have to wait again.
He's always the one who's sidelined automatically.
Yeah. Uh, and I also feel that India might struggle with the pace attack because we saw them get exposed against weaker teams like Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, and to an extent even Pakistan sometimes, just with Bumrah especially. But now they are playing Australia, who are in absolute form. We saw them play against South Africa. I think that was a T20 series as well, where Tim David, uh, Maxwell, Travis Head, everybody's in superb form. So that's going to be exciting because we have a relatively inexperienced or out of form bowling attack with Harshit Rana, Arshdeep Singh, and Jasprit Bumrah. So, what do you make of that battle?
I think it's going to be one of the most exciting T20 series in a long time. Because Australia are also playing a brilliant brand of cricket.
Yeah.
I just read a stat where each of the top six are currently scoring at a strike rate of more than 150. So, and they're all in good form. And they're following a similar template to India, which is just fill their team with hitters and have batting depth. And also, since it's Australia, everyone also bowls. So they also get around 7 to 8 bowling options,
Yeah.
which is Maxi, Stoinis, Short, and then 5 proper bowlers. So I think it's a really, really, really good series, and I really hope that it's a close one and not like the Asia Cup.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we are going to lose one match, so our winning streak will come to an end. But let me quickly tell the venues. So these are quite interesting ones. I have it open on my monitor. The first one is in Canberra on the 29th. Uh, the second T20 happens on the 31st in Melbourne. So I think this is relative to my time in Canada, but actually it might be on the next
Yeah.
day. Not sure. The third T20 happens in Hobart on November 2nd. The fourth one happens in Gold Coast, and the last one happens in Gabba, Brisbane. So these are quite interesting venues. I haven't seen a match at Canberra or Gold Coast. Hobart as well, I think, happens only for the Big Bash League. I have never seen an international game happen there, so these are new venues for me as well.
Yeah, and most of it has got to do with the Ashes, which is starting in like 10 days after this series ends. So they want their venues ready for that. And I think that is why in the ODI series as well, I don't see any of their big guns playing, especially the bowlers
Yeah.
like Cummins, Stark, Hazelwood. I don't think they'll play in either of the series. Maybe the ODI series because there'll be around 15 to 20 days of gap between them. But in T20s, I think it's going to be a second string Australian bowling attack.
Perfect. The last discussion point that I had was about Harshit Rana, and I basically thought that he was being given too many chances despite not doing so well. But when I saw the stats, he's only played 3 T20 as for India, and I think all of those happened this year, if I'm not wrong. So he's quite new, and I understand that they'll give him at least 5, 6, or at least 10 games maybe. But do you think that it's warranted to pick him in both the series, even in the ODI series?
I think India have a lot of options, but they have seen something in Harshit Rana, which even I have seen. He's a very rare hit the deck bowler who can also bat a bit, and I think he's a big unit, which is very rare for Indian bowlers. He has got a high ceiling. He touches 140 regularly. He needs to get a bit consistent with his line and length. So I just feel that he is working with Mone Mokel currently, and that's why he's getting uh, the nod ahead of others. Uh, but I don't see him. I think they see him as a prospect for the World Cup in South Africa because those pitches will really suit his style of bowling.
Yeah.
And also someone like Prasidh Krishna. So that's why you can see they've included him in the ODI squad as well. So I think it's good to notice that India are looking at the World Cup and they're looking at options who will be useful in those conditions right from now. So I think that's the main reason behind the push Harshit is getting.
Perfect. So now, before we move to the next big news, what are your series predictions for the ODI and T20? I'll actually go first. I think in the ODI series we are winning it 2-1, and the T20 series we are winning it. I think we are winning it 4-1.
Oh, I actually feel that we are winning the ODIs 3-0 actually. And the T20s would be, I think, 3-2 to Australia.
Oh, that's
That's
interesting.
my feeling. Because India have dipped a bit in the recent past and Australia are playing very well. So that's just how I think.
Great. So that's the first major talking point. One of three, or one of 2.5. I don't know. One of four. Okay.
Oh, 3-3-3.
So now let's go ahead to the next important discussion, and that's about the first test between India and West Indies. which happened today. I mean, it finished today, and it was a hammering from India, as we expected. So I'll quickly uh, tell the viewers the match summary. So it lasted only for 3 innings. So in the first innings, West Indies were bowled out for 162, and the standout bowlers for India were Bumrah with a 3 for and Siraj with a 4 for. Kuldeep and Sundar picked 2 and 1 wickets respectively. And in return, India absolutely thrashed West Indies. They scored 448 for 5, and they eventually declared overnight. And the main performers were Jurel with a 125, Jadeja with a 100, KL Rahul with a 100, and Gill with a 50. And India took an unassailable lead, and they gave West Indies batting this morning, and they were bowled out again for 146. Once again, Siraj picked a 3 for, Jadeja picked a 4 for, and Kuldeep and Sundar again picked 2 and 1. So it was an absolute domination. We won by an innings and 140 runs, so it was not even close, as we expected. And now we lead the series 1-0. So, what was the biggest standout moment for you from this game?
Yeah, so I did ruin a bit of my sleep to catch hold of this game, which I regret doing, but I think I expected a better fight, to be honest. I didn't expect them to get bowled out for under 116 both the innings. I thought, and the guy who I had bet on the most on, which was Tevin Imlaj, he didn't get a game. So, Tondavar padla. And then
Fell on his mouth.
uh,
Not him, Ved.
face.
Fell on his face. Yeah.
I think India did well. I expected nothing different from them. And if they would have wished, they would have even batted longer, because Jadeja was still not out, Sundar was there, and Reddy didn't even get to bat. So they could have easily hit 700 or something. But they decided otherwise and they tried to give the fans some entertainment. I saw Jadeja came and he was hitting a lot of sixes, which is really not like Jadeja, but him and Jurel were batting really well. And then the bowlers did what they do best. I think the biggest positive is Siraj doing well in India as well and continuing his form, because he's a very rhythm-based bowler. So if he's in good rhythm, he'll do well.
And that's his home ground now, because he's a Gujarat Titans player. But one important thing to mention was the shocking crowd turnout at Motera. I mean, we were expecting that most of the stadium would be empty, but over here, nearly 90% of the stadium was empty for most of the time. I think there are a lot of reasons. Firstly, it's West Indies, and obviously not disrespecting them, but they are not one of the better sides in today's day and age. They've obviously
I think the way
dominated.
they played, they do deserve the disrespect. Because
Yeah.
at the start, even I used to say that not to disrespect them, but I think they need a bit of a whacking to wake up.
Obviously, the players are trying, but again, there are a lot of factors. The second thing is Motera, obviously. It's such a huge stadium that even if it's filled to its 50% capacity, it will still appear to be mostly empty. And finally, the fan experience that the Gujarat Cricket Association and BCCI provide is very bad. I saw a couple of videos on Twitter saying that there was no food, or there was just a samosa or like some snacks that were not even hot. There was no free drinking water. The stalls were very few, so if you were in a part of the stadium which was not in that area, you would have to walk all the way and go to a stall to buy something. So in general, they just don't treat the fans well. And then obviously, like, why would you expect fans to buy tickets that are nearly 1,000 rupees and watch 9 hours of cricket? So obviously it's a mix of these factors. But do you think there's any solution to this, or do you just stop hosting test matches at Motera?
Yeah, that I absolutely don't like about India, uh, and mostly South Asia, the subcontinent, because they just don't treat fans like they deserve to get the treatment. They just take them for granted. I've seen that everywhere. I think during the World Cup, most of the stadiums were uh, kind of most associations were bullied into giving the fans free drinking water, and hence they had to do it. But as soon as it ended, we're back to it. I think one of the biggest stadiums in the world. It doesn't matter if at the end you can't fill it, because
Yeah.
what's the point of having a lakh empty seats? Uh, Rather than that, you could save costs. So,
And
uh,
I mean, as as we mentioned, West Indies is not a good team, but if you see West Indies playing in England, it's always packed. So, I mean, the people they would turn up if they were treated well. So, I think that's an important
yeah,
factor.
I think there are some factors like weather and, uh, of course, the timing, and India being a more middle class, or like
Working
people
class
who, yeah,
who
working
are
class.
serious about their careers.
Yeah, but those are not excuses, because India is a sporting nation,
Yeah.
and it's the job of the associations to take care whenever fans come, so that they leave the stadium with a good memory, and they're not left thinking or regretting wasting their money. So I think that's what happens in India. Most of the fans, whenever they go, they mostly return with bitter memories from the stadium, getting yelled at by the officers, and not getting the not getting any good treatment. And most of the times the view is better in their house with TVs. Everyone has good TVs nowadays.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it is critical to give the fan a good experience, because they are paying their money and spending a lot of time and effort to reach the ground. So that's the basic minimum that the associations can do.
Yeah, and the funny thing was, I think day one was on a national holiday. So, I mean, if people wanted, they would have, but clearly they didn't want to attend the match. So, yeah, that's something to
I think
look into.
culture is also a part of it. Ahmedabad, not really a sporting city,
Yeah,
but hopefully we'll see a good crowd in Delhi, because I've heard a lot of good things about them. And I saw a couple of comparisons when Kohli played in Ahmedabad and all that, just because people used to talk up his importance as a test player and how he has kept it alive. There are needless comparisons all the time. So now I would like to see the same people compare when Kohli managed to fill Arun Jaitley Stadium for a Ranji Trophy game. I want to see how they compare when Delhi is eventually empty for the second test. Will they still show the comparisons, or just a one-way
traffic.
talk?
Okay, uh, that's a nice way to conclude from this segment. There are a few more questions about the players, the squad. So, since India has won, I mean, we obviously knew that they would win, but would you expect any changes, such as maybe resting Bumrah, or uh, the bigger question was, what do you do with Sai Sudarshan? Do you give him another chance, or do you maybe give Padikkal a chance against an easier team like West Indies?
I think Bumrah, he does warrant a rest,
Yeah,
because he didn't really bowl that much, but there's no point making him stand on the field for the entire day when uh, I think most of our bowlers were under bowled in the first test. Sundar, Reddy. So I think even without Bumrah, there's nothing that we will miss. Reddy can bowl a bit more. So I think that's what they would do. They should do. And talking about Sai Sudarshan, I feel he's Uh, it would be very weird if he's dropped after just a single inning. So uh, I think if they're brave enough to experiment, they can just straight up swap Bumrah with Padikkal, because you still have three spinners, Siraj and Reddy can bowl. And against West Indies, I don't think most of them will be uh, required to deliver at their best. So if they want to give Padikkal a chance, but then again, even the batting was underutilized in the last game. So I don't think Padikkal might get a chance. They'll just stick with the same 11, same batting at least.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I don't think they'll replace Bumrah with Padikkal. That's a bit too overconfident, and India wouldn't do that. But I agree that Bumrah deserves rest. He's also going to play the ODI, so the T20 series, and then again he'll be playing all of the games in India after that as well. So they should take
Yeah,
care of him now.
and it's
Uh,
not like Delhi is a really pacer-friendly wicket or
yeah,
anything, so doesn't make sense.
yeah. I also wanted to praise Dhruv Jurel because this was one of his few one of the few opportunities that he had to cement his side or at least put himself in contention, and he's done well. He scored a century, India's highest scorer as well. And I think even as a keeper, I saw a lot of people praising his wicket keeping skills. He was involved in a lot of dismissals, so I think he's obviously put his name out there. And there's also a chance now for him to play as a pure batsman, maybe instead of someone like a Nitish Reddy. If they're not going to bowl him, they might as well just play Dhruv Jural
Yeah, so when Pant returns,
when Pant returns.
yeah, I think he has done more than enough to uh, be considered as a pure batter because he's a very compact player, and at least in any conditions that are not Australia or South Africa, I think he will do well. So I think he can be considered, but then India, they've always got a surplus of batting
Yeah,
talent.
yeah.
So, but yeah, he's good enough to play as a pure batter.
Great. So now let's move to the next segment. This is the this is something that we missed last time, and we are sorry about that. We shouldn't have. This is the ICC Women's World Cup, which is happening in India right now, and I think it's been 1 week since it began, or close to 1 week.
Yeah,
Obviously, India won against Sri Lanka in their opening game, and they're playing Pakistan on the day of recording this. So, but hopefully, I mean, I think that's a washed out game. So, let's see what happens. But hopefully, India beats them. But now over to Ved. I haven't had a chance to watch a lot of the World Cup. I obviously know a lot of Indian players, but Ved is, as usual, the cricket Mahaguru.
Hmm.
He knows everything about every team. So, over to him.
it was too humble of you. So, I, I think I messed that up. Talking about the World Cup, I think first of all, I would like to compliment the Indian fans. It's really ironic that just 2 minutes ago we were criticizing them, but in the Women's World Cup, I think the benchmark is completely different. And I saw the India game was quite filled. Around 27,000 people showed up for the first game.
Hmm.
Sharma ji in full flow with his captaincy and his medicines. So I'm sure no one would have got that reference. Uh, so the crowd was good, and even in the non-India game, which was Australia versus New Zealand, uh, in Indore, the crowd was really good there as well. So that is good, something that I didn't expect from the Indian fans.
Yeah,
But I think it's an effect of the WPL, which
correct.
is Indians are now being exposed to foreign female players as well, so they have fans. So
Yeah, it's basically Indian fans are now they're more aware of Indian players as well as foreign players. So just like IPL,
yeah,
IPL provided a lot of international players with a lot of fans. The same thing is happening with women cricketers as well. So that's good.
yeah. I think I saw one of the banners in an Australia New Zealand game. मेरे केक के ऊपर चेरी मेरे फेवरेट प्लेयर है एलिस पेरी
That's good. That's great.
which is very creative. Uh, so yeah, talking about the performances, I think India, Australia, England, and Bangladesh they started with wins. Bangladesh was surprising because they toppled Pakistan in a really big way. They bowled them out
One-sided.
for 130
Yeah.
and chased it. And England as well, they knocked over South Africa for 70 and then
Oh,
chased it no loss. So those two are commanding wins. India and Australia were surprisingly the ones who were actually in trouble. And they are considered to be the favorites. And they both were in deep trouble at one stage, and then they managed to they were bailed out by the lower order. So this shows that the World Cup can be really competitive and anyone can beat anyone because surely you didn't expect South Africa to be knocked over that way and you didn't expect India to be in that position versus Sri Lanka. So this is going to be one of the most competitive women's World Cups I think we have ever seen. And uh, to focus on India, I think our team has been shaping up really well. And I was following them for a while and I saw them play a lot of ODI cricket, which is good because women's cricket in India at least doesn't get that amount of um, help or
attention.
support from the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I saw they were constantly having home series against Ireland, West Indies, and then Australia, New Zealand as well. So it's good, and that's why you can see them actually being ready for this event. So India is a bit reliant on Smriti Mandhana and her form, and you can't blame the team because that's how good she has been. Since the start of 2024, she has scored 747 runs at a strike rate of 96 and an average of 57, which is just
Nice.
unbelievable numbers. And I think Pratika Rawal has been a very good addition. It was a bold move to drop Shafali because of the kind of stature that she has, that she can just kill the game on her day. But they decided to go with Pratika, who's been very consistent. Uh, so that's good. In the first game, they did go with a very weird combination where they played an extra batter and just had five options with the ball, and the fifth one being a part timer in Amanjot Kaur.
Oh,
So it worked out in the end, but I think they might have to drop one of Harleen Deol or Jemima and accommodate an extra bowler in the future games. So that's what I feel about India. And the bowling is known to be a bit off, like when there's dew, especially. So I think that will happen at some point in this tournament. So that is something to look at as well. And talking about the tournament, so do you have any favorites in your mind? It's a rhetorical question, but you can still answer.
yeah. I saw a graphic recently about the past winners, and it's only been three teams: Australia, New Zealand, and England. So they have to be the favorites. Not sure about New Zealand, but Australia, England for sure. And since it's happening in India, and looking at the form and performances, I think India as well are favorites. So I think these three teams for me. But what do you think? Because you're pretty updated with the performances of all the teams.
Yeah, England, I wasn't too hopeful because they just, as recently as 3 or 4 months ago, they had a massive uh, kind of a rebel against the coach,
Oh,
and they kicked the coach out after a debacle in Ashes. I think where all formats included, they couldn't win a single game, uh, and they had to rope in Charlotte Edwards. You might know her,
Charlotte,
Mumbai
yeah, yeah.
Indians
Mumbai Indians
women's
coach.
coach,
Yeah.
and she has turned it around for them in a very short time. So uh, I don't know how that will go, but Australia are of course the favorites as they always are. But one thing is proven that they are no longer invincible. There's a
Hmm.
difference between being strong and invincible. So India have given them a fight for a run for their money quite a few times. They also defeated them in an ODI in the recently concluded series,
I
and
think that was
they,
also the first time that someone has beaten Australia in ODIs in some uh, chasing or something like
uh,
that.
yeah, in the last 70 ODIs, they've lost just five. So that, and this was one of them.
And
And
was it the first
this
time that
series was
we beat them in an ODI or something like that?
no. The start was that the first time they ever conceded 300 runs in a ODI.
Correct. Yeah, that's insane.
When we were, they scored 400 and we got to 370, which was really brilliant. So they can be beaten, and I think on spinning tracks there's a chance. I was actually really hopeful of Sri Lanka giving them a tough fight today, but the match got washed out.
Oh,
Which brings me to my final point, which I would like you to also know that there are 28 league games in the World Cup, and this World Cup was originally to be hosted by India. They still are the hosts, but Pakistan, of course, is always a thorn in the flesh. So they disagreed to come to India, and rightly so, because even we have disagreed to go there. So they refused. So we agreed to have the hybrid model where Pakistan play their games in Colombo. Uh, they did not choose UAE because of the weather. That's what I heard. So they went
ironically.
with Colombo. And then what is weird is Sri Lanka also demanded that now that you are keeping the games in Colombo, let us have our games there as well. It was a bit like the chup chup ke chips mang raha hai kind of a moment.
Yeah, if we are going to play in Sri Lanka, then why not give us a few home games as well?
Yeah, and then this is where the weird part that BCCI agreed, and now there are 13 out of the 28 games in Colombo, in just one venue in Colombo, and four Indian venues will combinedly host the remaining 15 games. So it now feels like it's a World Cup hosted by Sri Lanka and India getting a few games, which is really upsetting because uh, it was a big moment for Indian women's cricket and BCCI. Uh, I don't think BCCI cares that much, and they would rather be happy to have lesser games to host, but
Yeah.
just kind of doesn't sit well with me. So, what do you think about this?
Obviously, it happened because of Pakistan's demand, and they're right, as you mentioned. But again, 13 games is almost 50%. So, if they wanted to host 50% of the games in Sri Lanka, they could have at least hosted it in different venues and maybe declare them as co-hosts, like the next T20 World Cup, instead of having all the games at Colombo. Now the issue is if the weather in Colombo isn't good, matches are going to get washed out. Ultimately, the pitch will also have to give up. I mean, how many games can you host? 15 games. It's not even in an IPL season. There are only 7 matches, and we see the pitch is deteriorating already. So I think the quality of the pitches is going to go down massively. So it will hurt teams towards the end of the tournament. So yeah, I think this is something that was done in panic, and they didn't really give enough thought to this. but
Yeah.
now we have to accept however it is.
Yeah, so that's the one thing that I didn't like about the tournament. But other than that, I hope for a successful event. And if India managed to win, this could be the revolution that women's cricket needed after WPL. Because IPL started and we also did well in international cricket in the following years. That's what created a strong bond for the fans with the team.
Yeah,
So even with WPL, you just don't want only the entertainment part. You also want the team to become a powerhouse, and I think this World Cup could be a very good chance for the Indian girls.
I did read an article by Sachin Tendulkar in which he said that if India does well, then this World Cup has the potential to be equivalent to the 1983 World Cup, which inspired a lot of Indian cricketers like Sachin himself. So this is a big moment, and I hope India does well. I hope they reach the final, and I hope they win it as well. So we'll keep discussing more about this in the upcoming episodes. Do we have time for an interesting segment? If you remember, in the afternoon, I was telling you that I had something in mind.
Hmm.
Do we have time for that?
It depends on if they are awake.
I think
I
we
think we
can.
can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
20 minutes should be enough. So the question I had comes from an interview that I saw about Virat Kohli, or I saw an interview of Virat Kohli from 2017 or 18, in which he mentioned,
Breakfast with champion.
no, this was to the media,
Oh.
in which he mentioned that he was in strong, uh, he was strongly against the fact that India didn't have regular test venues or test centers, and his point was that if we go to a place like Australia or England, in advance we know what five stadiums we are going to be playing at. The order might change, but it's always those five venues. So the team can prepare better. At the same time, the home team can prepare better as well. The fans can hype the series up. They know what to expect. And then each venue can be prepared for a different kind of challenge. For example, in Australia, Perth is always known for its bounce. MCG is always known for the fans and the enormous size of the stadium and the Boxing Day, the day as well. So each stadium there has its own set of challenges which the opposition team has to kind of deal with. So I was wondering, India has so many test venues. I think we have had this discussion before, but let's have it in the podcast. If you were part of the BCCI or if you were the Indian captain, which five stadiums would you propose to be India's test centers? So every single test series would happen in one of these five.
Yeah, I think that's a very good idea. At least for the big series, which is Australia, England, and
Yeah.
South Africa. I think this is something that could happen. Uh, so the five venues, I think, ideally should be the ones which are only reserved for Test cricket, because it would be unfair to the other venues if these venues are reserved for Test cricket and also get other India games, because there are more than 50 in India. So I think so these should be reserved only for Test cricket. That should be one of the criterias.
I have one thing to say. I think they should prioritize heritage and history more. I mean, if these stadiums are hosting other games, just stop it and move it to the newer venues. But they should obviously prioritize the older and the more famous stadiums for Test cricket.
Yeah. And also the other thing is the sporting culture, which is what you mentioned, the culture and heritage of the and the history of the stadium, and also the fans.
Yeah.
You should have test centers which are regularly filled by fans. So my five would be, in no particular order. I think Chepauk is very it's a great venue for Test cricket and suits India a lot. It's intimidating as well for the opposition, and the fans are also good. So Chepauk would be number one. Um, I think Arun Jaitley Stadium as well. You might argue that it's not really a historic venue, but we have had a lot of good games there, and the fans are also good. Uh, and number three would be uh, Eden Gardens, I think, because again, a historic venue. In the recent past, there haven't been a lot of good test matches there, but that's just due to BCCI's policies and nothing to do with the venue. So I think that's another great venue. And since they also like big stadiums to host games, uh, Eden Gardens is a big one. A fourth one, I think the options are a lot. Wankhede is surely one of them, but I would like to see other matches as well at Wankhede. Um, but I think I would still go with the Wankhede Stadium because it's just too good a test venue, and the pitch is actually really great for test cricket, and it's very rare to have a complete package which Wankhede provides.
Yeah,
It's got something for the pacers and the spinners as well, turn
and
and
batters.
bounce, and the batters, and the
And I
crowd is
think,
again very
yeah,
good.
and it's got a lot of history, and it's the, let's say, the home of Indian cricket because it's
Yeah.
produced a lot of amazing players.
So Wankhede will be my fourth, and my fifth, which I surprisingly prefer over other venues. This one is the HPCA Stadium in Dharamshala, and simply because the if I was BCCI, I would prioritize the fans, and I think some of the best facilities are in Dharamshala. The views are great, the ambience is good, and I think even the away fans really count this game as a must-watch. You've seen the Bahami Army, even a lot of Aussie fans at times. So I think if you want to promote Test cricket, there's nothing better than uh, promoting it as a tourist attraction as well. Even Indian fans, those who have too much money to spend, they could use that match as a way to have a holiday, for example, in Dharamshala and just come for the game. And that's how you fill stadiums eventually. So I think that would be my fifth venue. And that one is the special highlight of the series.
Yeah, I agree as well. I had also picked my five, and obviously there was Chennai. And my logic was that each stadium should be different. Right? Each stadium should offer its own challenge. So as you said, Chennai, the pitch is more suited for spinners, so that's a challenge. I think Wankhede is unavoidable for its history, and at the same time, it's a nice batting track. So a lot of runs are scored usually at Wankhede. Eden Gardens, I feel again for the heritage, and I like the ceremony that they have before the match, where they ring the bell. So that's something nice and historic. And the stadium again is pretty good. It offers assistance to the spinners nowadays. And India, I think they haven't played a match since the day-night test, if I'm not wrong. Or maybe they played one after that.
Yeah, since the day-night test.
Yeah, so that's. I mean, Kohli scored his century there. That's what I remember from it. But Eden Gardens would be the third. I also thought of the HPCA stadium, to be honest. So that's nice that you also think that way. But I feel, I think Hyderabad is a pretty good stadium. Plus the fans are really nice, and I think that's nowadays it's a flat track, so India can basically just dominate. Pune is also a historically important venue for India. We have had some eventful matches there, but again, you don't want two stadiums right beside each other. Motera is an option, but and we saw what happens there. So I feel the fifth could be somewhere in Gujarat. Uh, I think is Kanpur the one where they have the Lords-esque gallery.
Yeah.
So I feel
Rajkot. That's
Rajkot.
Rajkot.
So to be honest,
Niranjan Shah Stadium.
yeah, I would fix 4 venues, and the fifth one could be rotating because there are a lot of options. So, but I mean,
Yeah.
you should announce this on a 2-year cycle. So you rotate the venue after every 2 years. So every single
Yeah, and
team
anyways,
play.
you have just 2 series which are 5 match nowadays. Only
Yeah.
Australia and England. Others are all maximum of 3.
Exactly. So I would rotate between Rajkot. I also love Nagpur quite a lot, and the HPCA Stadium. So I would rotate between these 3 for the 5th Test Center.
Yeah, so it was a very good exercise. But I don't expect much from BCCI in that aspect. Kohli was visionary, you have to agree, because that is what is the most viable option, because you want to make the associations happy, but at the same time you want to preserve Test cricket. That is the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Associations can be made happy in other ways as well, but uh, I don't see the BCCI thinking in that way right now.
Yeah, and I think it's also tough because we have so many venues that can host Test matches. I think in Australia and England, I mean, there are venues, but these are the historic and the most important venues that they have. They don't have any other options, so it's a bit easy for them to choose their 5. For us, it's very tough. So yeah, with that, I think we've completed everything that we had to discuss today. Any other updates from the world of cricket? I think there was something about Nepal and West Indies that was quite interesting.
Yeah, and Nepal just became the latest team to have an international upset uh, next to their name, as they toppled down the West Indian team. To be honest, I expected them to win at least one game, because West Indies haven't really been that good, and it was a second string West Indies team. But they went on and defeated them in 2 games and won the series, which was quite special. But more than that, I'm actually excited for the ICC Men's T20 World Cup
Yeah.
East Asia Pacific qualifiers, which begin on the 8th of October. And the warm-up matches are actually currently going on. And to my uh, disappointment, Oman lost both their warm-up games. One to Kuwait and one to, I think, Nepal. Yeah.
Oh.
So sad days for Oman. They're the hosts. And I think Samoa also lost a lot of attention to Samoa because of Ross Taylor. He scored 15 runs in 2 games in the 2 warm-ups. So I think looks good there. I really would like to say Japan have played some very good cricket in the warm-up. They have, I think, a Bangladeshi immigrant, but he's really turned the tide for their cricket. So I'm really
And
looking forward to that tournament.
and I think there were 2 more teams who confirmed the spot for the main World Cup.
Yeah, those were Zimbabwe and Namibia.
That's good.
So now we have got 17 teams locked in for the World Cup, and 3 more to go, which will be finalized in I think around 15 days.
And with this, let us also give our habitual reminder to the BCCI to release the schedule. It's I think less than 150 days now, so it's time that they at least provide the dates. When will the tournament start? When will the finals happen?
Yeah, the benchmark is so low that even if the officials mention the word T20 World Cup, that would be a win in itself for us.
Yeah, I hope that comes out. I'm also sorry if you can hear any background noise. I did tell my friends to remain silent, but they have not listened. That's okay. So I think with that, we've covered everything. Your final thoughts before we call it a day.
Yeah, so I think our channel has been doing well in the recent past. We have been seeing some good numbers on our videos, especially the shorts. I would just like to tell our viewers that if you are enjoying, please let us know, because views are not the only way. Leave some comments and subscribe to our
Subscribe.
channel
Yeah.
so that even we get the motivation, because even we are humans, we work entire week relentlessly, and then weekend comes up and we sit to record these podcasts for you. So the least the what you can do to show your support is like the videos
Yeah.
and subscribe.
Yeah, that's true. I think the views have gone up massively. I think you mentioned
Yeah.
that. I think we are breaking our own records now for the best or the most viewed short. So that's a good thing. It's only the 11th episode, so I think we are still motivated enough to keep going. And I enjoy this because I get to talk about cricket and maybe a few other topics.
Yeah, like how we have narrowed it down in 11 episodes.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, we'll keep changing it based on our feelings, what we like and what we think, and your suggestions. So, if you want your suggestion to be listened to, you have to provide it to us. So, do that through the comments. And yeah, for now, that's it. We'll see you next week.
So this is Ved signing off.
This is Yash saying bye.
Dancing, dancing,